The controversy around economist Thabi Leoka's qualifications has sparked a debate over vetting processes in the country. According to a Business Day exposé, the economist does not hold a PhD from the London School of Economics, as she alleges. Now, in the midst of these explosive allegations, Leoka has resigned from a number of high-profile institutions such as MTN, Anglo Platinum, to name but a few. On Monday, the presidency confirming that it also had axed Leoka as a member of the Presidential Economic Advisory Council. This is over this scandal. Reputation management expert is Solly Moeng, who joins me now for a quick analysis of what has happened here. Mr. Moeng, thank you very much for your time. So let's pick up on perhaps the latest, and that is that the presidency, or should I say the President's Economic Advisory Council, decided to terminate Thabi Leoka's membership, and this is after it had asked her to address this matter of her academic qualifications. Let's talk first about how badly this reflects on government's own vetting processes.
Yeah, good morning, Claudia, and to all your viewers out there. Look, it's a very, very unfortunate incident or story, this, because Thabi is such an interesting, very smart, very articulate, very intelligent woman. I have no idea why she allowed herself to be in this situation. The presidency, obviously, we had the conflicting stories that people who are part of the advisory council do not have to be vetted. That's what they said. So they didn't really vet her. Which doesn't make sense at all, because the people who go into those kind of, fora are the ones who whisper into the president's ear about what policy directions to take. So you can't have people there who cannot be trusted to know what they're talking about. I mean, fortunately, she's not a bad woman. She's a smart woman. I've listened to her. I've read some of the stuff she's written. She's smart, but it could be somebody else who comes in there with claims that prove later on to be unfounded. So the presidency and everybody else who engages people, they have to be clear about what criteria needs to be satisfied before anybody goes into those fora, and they must follow suit. If they find that the person has been wanting in terms of the claim between what they claim and what they find in their then they need to say goodbye kindly to the person.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
Well, let's perhaps delve into the reasons for why the presidency says, look, vetting wasn't really an issue here, for us at least. And this is part of what they're saying, that for you to be a member of the council, you did not require formal vetting, and this is because members volunteer their time. In other words, they're not employed, nor do they get remunerated. Now, these reasons, are they strong enough for the presidency to say, look, we understand what is going on around Ms. Leoka, but you're barking up the wrong tree here?
No. I mean, for the reasons I mentioned earlier, it doesn't make sense. These are the people who are going to whisper into the president about what policy direction to take for all of us. So you can't have people in there claiming to know stuff when they know. It could be, maybe there's another medical advisory council, somebody claiming to be a doctor. We've seen the number of people coming up being exposed in South Africa for having claimed to have qualifications they never had. So you need to make sure that when you bring experts into a room, those people qualify as experts and they can contribute the kind of value in there that will have the president, the government shape the direction of the country policy-wise. So the presidency has no leg to stand on in terms of this one. They have got to vet people, whether they're paying them or not. If people are going to play such a big role in the direction the policy... I'm looking at where South Africa is at now. It's lost. Would it be that there have been other people in the past who claim to be what they are not, who whispered stuff emotionally into the presidency, stuff that ended up in policy making? We can't have this. It's unacceptable.
Yeah. Well, let's extend this vetting process, but to the private sector now, because they are the people that I suspect you're going to say they are unable to use the same defense. We are talking big corporates here, Netcare,
right.
MTN, South Africa, Remgro, Implats. They can't use the same defense. But the question I have for you around them is, what lessons can they draw from this experience?
It's the same thing. I mean, some of them say they did undertake vetting processes on her background check in terms of the qualifications. I mean, many companies do that these days when they employ you. And I would imagine that she was paid quite handsome director's fees in all of these companies. They would have had to say, well, wait a minute, we've seen your CV, we've done the vetting, your PhD is not confirmed, what is going on? Suppose that happened, and maybe somebody said, look, she's still a smart black woman, we really need, so that we look transformed and we keep taking advantage, advice from people of a diverse background. It could be. Some people are saying that it could be, it could not be the case. But the point is, once you find that's been the case, you need to expose it and do something about it. Especially, you see, when somebody has lied about one thing, you have to wonder what else are they lying about. But also on her part, it's also, if supposing that one company did the vetting, they found that she had been lying about having a PhD, and they came and whispered in her ear, they said, don't worry, we'll look the other way. That puts her in a vulnerable situation for blackmail. Because somebody says, I know your secret, remember? So here you're going to vote this way, that way. You can't. If you do, we're going to put yourself out there. So the minute you as a brand put yourself in a situation of vulnerability like that, you can't make the kind of decision that you should be able to make as an expert.
Well, let's talk about Thabi Leoka, the person. You kicked off your first response by saying you don't understand why she allowed for this to happen. Perhaps I have a slightly different question for you. How did she escape scrutiny for so long? Did these companies deliberately look away, knowing what was going on here and what might have been the reasons for that?
Look, as I said earlier, she's a smart woman. I mean, I've listened to her, I've read some of the stuff she writes. She is smart. I have no idea why she needed to lie about a PhD. I have no idea what she wanted to, just to be called a doctor. It's not good. It's not, this kind of thing is not sustainable. So these companies might have said, look, despite all of this stuff, she is quite smart, Do you want to lose her? Maybe. But it could also be because how many smart black women economists are out there? Maybe she's attractive, she expresses herself quite well, she writes quite well from what I've seen. So it would have been really hard for them to let go of her. But they couldn't not do anything about it. I'm saying, the fact that the lie has been there makes all of them complicit in one way or another. She is completely, she takes the first responsibility. She's a smart woman. She lied. She lied. I listened to her interview on one of the radio stations last week. Yeah. She was asked a direct question, do you have a PhD? She said, yes, I have a PhD. That's a lie. So she must pay consequences for that. I don't see why she must be allowed to get away with it. Because if she does that, other people are going to do it.
Well, you actually touch on what I was going to give now as perhaps a case study, talking about consequences. We have, if you recall, the bogus PRASA engineer, someone who also went by the name of Dr. Daniel Mtimkulu. It was in January of 2022 that he was found guilty of fraud. Criminal consequences here, possibly, for Thabi Leoka, and can she ever recover from something like this?
She can't recover if she doesn't show remorse. If she doesn't come forward and say, okay, I am really sorry, I messed up here. Because she can't lie. You can't say I didn't lie, because she did lie. She even lied on radio. So she has to really kneel down on her knees and say, I'm sorry. And then maybe she must quietly finish her PhD and then come back and say, look, I've done this PhD. I made a mistake in the past. It's not a mistake, really. It's almost criminal. I think some places you get, criminally prosecuted for this sort of thing. But she died. It's fraud. It's fraud. She has earned director's fees from these companies on the basis of a lie. She has. So that's fraud.
Can these companies go after her to say you earned money based on false pretenses?
Yeah, they could. If they have the appetite for it. Some of them might decide, you know what, let's let it go. But still, I mean, we live in a world where Mr. and Mrs. Google is all over the place, Big Brother. This thing isn't going to go away. I don't know how it's created, it's generated so much media attention. It's all over the place. I don't know how she's going to put, wherever she goes to knock on her door. These days, people Google you, they check it out, whether you like it or not. This thing is going to come up, and they're going to say, but what about this? I mean, having lied for that, giving that kind of lie is serious, because people do ask you, or they ask themselves, if she is lying on this particular thing, what else is she lying about? You can't put somebody like that in a position of trust when they've proven to be the kind of, she's going to struggle to come out. I think she must just quietly live her life as an economist. I don't know how she's going to work for small companies. Over time, hopefully and some people do over time survive these things. Maybe she will, maybe she will. But right now, things are not looking good for her, especially because she lied, and it's on record that she lied about this thing. I'm saying, so she didn't try. When she was found out the first time, she didn't say, okay, I'm sorry. She continues to lie. She continued to lie to put more plaster over a wound of lies that was already festering. That's her biggest mistake recently.
Solly Moeng, thank you very much for that explanation, a reputation management expert talking to us from Switzerland there. All right.